The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios.
Hi, this is Mia Mosensia, also known as Mia No Time for Love. Check out my latest book, Missing, available in print and ebook formats on Amazon.
It's now time for the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, iTunes, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and themikewagnershow.com. Mike brings you great guests and interesting people from all across the globe. So sit back, relax, and enjoy another great episode of the Mike Wagner Show.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget, Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Mosensia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you'll love Missing by Mia Mosensia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is an illusion and those you love will be the first to go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Mosensia has garnered great reviews and even loved and enjoyed by Howard celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many else. So grab your copy today before it goes missing by Mia Mosensia, available on Amazon. Also, check out the Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com on over 30 podcast platforms, including Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also, Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Audible, and Apple Music, and more. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Don't forget to subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter today. And for great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com and check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. T-shirts, pop sockets, throw pillows, tote bags, a lot more. Amazon.com and check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com/Mia Mosensia for great books like Missing, Once, and Wrinkles. Also T-shirts, phone cases, hoodies, and more. Amazon.com/Mia Mosensia. And don't forget to support the Mike Wagner Show on Anchor FM as well as PayPal and MikeWagnerShow.com. Make sure you do so today. We're here with a terrific gentleman who's an Austin-based author and avid reader since childhood, coping with constant moving and shifting schools, providing a framework for rich diversity in many subjects. We'll talk about that. And he's got a new book series called The Last Roman, and it's part historical fiction and part thriller set in Rome's Ninth Legion, and it's going across 2,000 years. And it's about history from ancient Rome to modern times. And this is described as part Da Vinci Code, part Highlander, and part Indiana Jones. We'll find out why in that one. He's also got some other books like Monsoon and Hatchet. And of course, we'll talk about his first book, Exile, the second one, Abyss, and the third one coming out in 2022. We'll talk about that. Live, ladies and gentlemen, from the Plus Studios, somewhere in Austin, Texas. Ladies and gentlemen, the multi-talented author of the Last Roman series, BK Greenwood. BK, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, hello. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Thanks for the intro.
Well, it's great to have you on board, too. And you've got an amazing profile you have. So you're an Austin-based author and avid reader since childhood, coping with constant moving and shifting schools, providing a framework for rich diversity in many subjects. And you have a new book series called The Last Roman, which is part historical fiction and part thriller set in Rome's Ninth Legion and going across 2,000 years. And it's going from ancient Rome to the modern times. And this series is described as part Da Vinci Code, part Highlander, and part Indiana Jones. We'll talk about your 3 series, Exile, Abyss, and soon to be released in 2022. Also a couple other books, and just amazing. And before getting to all that, BK, tell us how you first got started.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, I did a lot of reading when I was a kid. It really kind of filled my mind with imagination and the love for creativity and being able to, bring images to mind in from reading. So in my early or mid 20s, I started kind of putting pen to paper and started capturing some stories. And in my late 20s is when I really kind of dug down and started writing this first book, Exile. And so it's been a work in progress for about 23 years. So it took a while to get it out the door. And it went through a lot of iterations. It went through a lot of changes as I did editing myself, as I cut it back and added to and kind of changed the storyline and so forth. But the general genesis of the story itself stayed pretty consistent throughout the process. And then last year, with some more time on my hands, I usually travel from my normal job. I travel a lot, and without the traveling going on, I really had more time at home. And I decided to get some real professional editing, get a professional cover artist, and really kind of push this out the door and get the first one rolling. So it rolled this year. May of this year is when I published book one, and then September I published book two.
Wow, that is amazing. Keep yourself busy. And what was the one precise moment that simply influenced you into what you're doing for the rest of your career?
Yeah, I guess it was, when I started last year in 2020, I had some push from some friends and family of mine that said, look, you've been kicking this can down the street for 20 plus years. You need to push it out the door. It's kind of like your kids, right? At some point they got to go out on their own. And
go.
Yeah, exactly. And so this book had to kind of get out and get out there. To me, the real genesis moment is when we start getting reviews from people you don't know, right? Of course, you publish something, you may have a review in there by a friend or a family member or something that says, hey, it's great. But when you start getting reviews from people you've never heard of, other countries that are saying they love the book and they can't wait for the next ones to come out, that's when it really starts sinking in that you might have, done something that, people enjoy, and it really helps people, it gives them an entertainment. And it's been described, like you said, it's been described as many different ways, but it's a fast action, moves along like a beach read. So it's not, you don't get bogged down with it. It's just quick and really entertaining is kind of the idea behind the book.
And it sounds very entertaining as well, too. And we'll talk about that in a minute. Who are some of your favorite authors and writers growing up?
So I think probably my number one, if I had to pick one author when I was growing up, and that was Edgar Rice Burroughs, who wrote the Tarzan series. I read all the Tarzan books. I actually would spend time riding around different malls when we lived in Arizona at the time, going to different malls and the bookstores looking for each one of the books. And I eventually, when I was in my teens, was able to collect all of the series for the Tarzan series. And he also did some John Carter of Mars series that I liked as well. And I think I enjoyed his books because they were very fast paced, lots of action in them. And, you had a clear hero that was, had a clear mission. And that's really appealing to a young reader. So that was a big influence on me when I was young. As I got older, I really enjoyed some of the more classical science fiction, like Isaac Asimov, Heinlein, some of those type of more classical science fiction. And I was an avid reader of just historical, like history books, like literal history books about World War II, World War I, Civil War, and so forth. Just anything that caught my attention, I would, especially with history, I would go and grab and just read. So it was something that kept me busy on the weekend. So.
And of all the subjects that you have read about and studied, what is your most favorite subject of all to read about, and why?
Yeah, I think, it goes back and forth between the Roman period and really the Napoleonic period during the late 1700s, early 1800s, the French Revolution moving into the Napoleonic period. And I always found that very interesting because we have a lot of data. We have a lot of information around that period of time. It was when we were really still able to go get source material when you could read books from that period of time. And it was just it was a phenomenon that struck the entire continent of Europe. Everybody was influenced when they were trying to keep kings in place, or there was the democracy in France, which ended up turning into an empire anyways, right? Napoleon made himself an emperor. So it wasn't like that lasted very long for them. But it was just really interesting to me that you could get entire nations fighting against one another to keep kings in place, right? Or to get rid of somebody who was trying to get rid of kings himself. Mm-hmm. So the Napoleonic period was really probably my favorite.
And what inspired you to what got you first interested in writing about the last Roman and the Roman Empire? What first got you interested in?
It's kind of interesting because people ask, where did I get I don't remember the exact moment I got the specific idea. But I look back to some movies and some books that I've read, like in the 80s, some movies that I read, like we mentioned Highlander a little bit earlier, the movie Excalibur. I just always liked movies and books that were set in historical instances. So I thought about, okay, what can I write for historical, fiction and what might be interesting. But I like the Highlander twist on it, where part of the book is in modern day, or part of the movie in Highlander is modern day, and then they do flashback scenes. And so that's what I applied to my book. I use a modern plot that's moving along, and then we use historical flashbacks to fill in some of the character development and the plot development as we move along. So I think it was those type of movies and books.
You also mentioned about your series being part Da Vinci Code, part Highlander, and part Indiana Jones. And describe part how you chose those to be like the Da Vinci Code, Highlander, and Indiana Jones, and especially combining those into one. It's rather interesting.
Yeah, I think, and it's interesting because that's the feedback I get from people. I sometimes have tried to avoid like comparing myself to Dan Brown and Da Vinci Code because it's so popular and famous. I don't want to say that I'm popular and famous like that, but people have come back and brought that up because I have some religious overtone in the books. The whole premise of the book is kind of based on a religious event that happened, and it involves some of the churches it goes through, and there's a quest and looking for artifacts. So I think that's where the Da Vinci Code kind of comes in. It gives that kind of feel. The same thing with the Indiana Jones. It moves all around the planet. There's some activity that happens in Europe and South America and in Middle East. So it kind of gives a feel like you're chasing and looking for something across the planet. So that has that kind of Indiana Jones feeling. Even it's not set in the same time, but it's got the same kind of feeling for that. It moves along like that.
That's interesting too. You mentioned about the churches being involved as well too, like in some of the books. So what are some of the churches were involved?
Well, so the main character is associated with the Roman Catholic Church. So he is. He's not part of it, but it's always been a supporting actor in what he's been doing throughout the ages. And then throughout history, a lot of the flashbacks involve conflict between different religions. And so if we look at our historical, over the last 2,000 years, we look at that history, we see that a vast percentage of the battles and conflicts that have happened have been based on religion. And a lot of times it's based on Christianity in conflict with Islam over different parts of the world, whether it be in the Middle East in the Crusades or in Spain during that period of time when they were trying to stop them from invading Europe and so forth. Constantinople, which is modern day Istanbul, there's obviously a lot of conflict there as well. So a lot of the flashbacks take place around those type of events. And so religion isn't really the focal point. It's the backdrop for a lot of what happens in history, which is accurate because it's always there. It's a foundational activity around what people do.
Oh, that's rather interesting. We'll talk about your 3 books as well, too, in the Last Roman series in just 1 minute. But first, to listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget, Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you'll love Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is an illusion and those you love will be the first to go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson-Zia has garnered great reviews and even loved and endorsed by Hollywood celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Boris Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today before it goes missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon. Check out The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com on over 30 podcast platforms. Take us with you on any mobile device and check out The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com for great merchandise like t-shirts, pop sockets, throw pillows, tote bags, and more. And check out on over 30 podcast platforms. Also, check out the Mia Molson-Zia store on Amazon for great books like Missing, Once, and Wrinkles, and cool merchandise and more. Support the Mike Wagner Show on Anchor FM as well as PayPal and the MikeWagnerShow.com. Make sure you do so today. We're here with the Austin-based author and avid reader and the amazing BK Greenwood of the Last Roman series here on the Mike Wagner Show. And before getting the Last Roman series, you had some previous works with Monsoon and Hatchet, and tell us about those.
Yeah, those are both short stories that are based in the same world, I would say, as The Last Roman. They kind of fill in some backstory for some of the main characters in the Last Roman series. So I have those available for people to read if they want to. I get a little bit of flavor about what my writing is like, what kind of pace it has, and so forth. So it's available on Amazon as well for download, and people can kind of check it out. And if they like it, then they can jump right into the series. They can read them standalone. They're not dependent upon the series itself.
That's rather interesting, too. And we'll go ahead and dive into The Last Roman as well, too. Let's talk about Book 1, Exile, where some debts you cannot repay, even if you live forever. And it's about the seasoned Imperial. And you can just tell us about the book and kind of lead us into it.
Yeah, so that's the lead-in book for the trilogy. That's the book that establishes the characters and the foundation for the story. The genesis of the story is that one of the Roman soldier who participated in the crucifixion of Christ, the one who held the lance that pierced his side, actually gains immortality through that action. So he's cursed to live forever for the next 2,000 years, which is similar to there's been some other series. I've had some of my readers, point out that Casca is the name of a series that was written in the 70s. And it's got a similar premise to that, but a much different plot and characterization. The second part, the antagonist in the story, is actually doubting Thomas, who's the disciple who doubted the resurrection of Christ 3 days after he was crucified, and he put his hand into the wound of the side of Christ, and through that act, it made him immortal as well. So what we have is two characters that are mortal, that at the beginning started off being friends and almost brothers, but then an event happens in Book 1. They explain that event, and Thomas becomes the antagonist and kind of the bad guy, if you will, for the rest of the story. So the gist is the modern day plot is based on kind of like a Jason Bourne spy type of activity, like a thriller, where Marcus, the main character, is trying to figure out what Thomas is up to and trying to stop him from doing bad things, which is what bad guys usually do. So that's the genesis of Book 1. And it kind of takes place, like I said, back and forth. Each chapter is either a modern chapter or a historical chapter. Travels across the globe from, Boston to Paris to Rome.
Hi, interesting.
So it kind of gives you a little bit of flavor of some of the travel, and at times he's chasing and times he's getting chased. And that's kind of the standard for a thriller, I think. So what was the guy doing in Boston and Paris during that time instead of being in Rome? I like this. Yeah. So he's based in this part of the book. He's based in Boston. I kind of picked that because I'm from New England, so I just kind of picked a place that I would like to live if I was not in Austin. So he starts off there, and he starts off moving to Paris or going to Paris to investigate a serial killing that's happening there, and that's how he kind of starts pulling on the threads that finding out what Thomas is doing in the modern day with his nefarious activity. So that's where it starts. And they end up in Rome just as they get chased and trying to find out what Thomas is doing by the end of Book 1. So that's how they kind of make their way across the continent there.
And I can imagine him being in Boston. He could be playing for the Patriots right now, thinking he's in the Den of Lions.
Yeah, exactly. I think everybody want to play for the Patriots right now. So
I'm sure Mac Jones will have him on board. Forget the Gronk. And then
exactly.
Let's head over to The Last Roman as well, too, in Book 2, which is The Abyss. And the question is, can all sins be forgiven? But will that be enough? And you can just lead us into that.
Yeah, so that's the follow-on. I kind of liken the three series to, if you look at the Star Wars movies, they stand alone. There's a kind of a definitive ending, but there's still more to come in the series. By the end of Star Wars, they blow up the Death Star and they're ready to go on, but they still have to defeat the Empire. And so the end of Book 1, there's a very definitive ending. One of the two sides got what they wanted, and one of the two sides didn't. And in Book 2, we pick up right at the end of that, and we start figuring out, okay, we know what happened in Book 1. Now what are we going to do in order to address that? And so Book 2 becomes a little bit more. We will start off in Rome. We'll visit places in Greece. We'll visit places in Russia, and we'll end up in South America at some point. So we scan the globe again, looking for answers to some of the problems that the characters are encountering and that basically are the result of Book 1. And it will end with a very definitive ending, but with something that we still need to close in Book 3. And Book 3 will have a very final ending. So that's the end of the trilogy. But book 2 leads us to get us right to the point where we're ready for book 3.
Okay, that's great. We'll talk more about book 3 in just 1 minute on The Last Roman with BK Greenwood. You listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Also brought to you by our official sponsor of The Mike Wagner Show, international award-winning author Mia Molson-Zia Missing, available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. We'll be back with author BK Greenwood of The Last Roman series after this time out.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention The Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey everybody, my name is Forbes Riley and I'm an American actress and a TV host, and I was delighted when I got my copy of Missing, which is Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People based on a real life relationship. It's well written. It's amazing. You know, it talks about a man who has lost his wife and his daughter, and it's very well done. I'm going to highly recommend that you go get your copy of Missing. It is a powerful, exciting read. Mr. Mian Moshe-Zia. He is the author of Missing. And I want to give a big shout out and a kiss all the way halfway around the world to my dear friend. Check him out at Mia's website. It's called www.miamoshenzea.com. Missing. Available on Amazon. Again, I'm Forbes Riley, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Hey, this is Ray Powers, and boy, are you in luck. Right place, right time. Tuned in to The Mike Wagner Show. You heard me.
We're back with author BK Greenwood of The Last Roman series here on The Mike Wagner Show. We talked about how he got started in reading and also his 2 books, Monsoon and Hatchet. We also covered the first book, Exile, followed by The Abyss. And this one is called Absolution, to be released in spring of 2022, and give us a bit more insight to what happens in book number 3.
Yeah, so without giving away the actual ending itself, I will say that there's a definitive ending where there's no cliffhanger at the end of book 3. Book 3 will give you the closure for all of the storylines that have happened in book 1 and book 2. We'll get closure on all the characters and their dilemmas that they've been dealing with for the last couple books and basically through eternity for the 2,000 years that they've been alive. So we'll get closure on all those activities. But we'll also get a lot of actions, a lot more action-packed activity. We'll do a little bit more globetrotting. We'll end up in parts of the Middle East after being in Europe. So that one will be once again traveling around and trying to find solutions for the problems that our antagonist is continually doing and getting into, the trouble he's causing. So,
And will there be like an epilogue or an offshoot of The Last Roman coming up anytime soon?
Yeah. So what I plan to do is I'll close out the series with book 3. But because the characters have been alive for 2,000 years, I almost have an unlimited amount of prequels that I could do with them. So my plan is the short stories that I wrote are obviously short stories. They're very short and they're not full novels. I do plan on picking periods of history and doing entire novels on just one period of history. So I may do World War I, or may do the Civil War, or may do some of the Crusades, and do an entire book on that with the characters in there. To me, that will kind of gives you the ability to flesh out a period in history and be able to share some of the knowledge that I have and some of the things that I find interesting about those periods. So
that's really interesting. Where can we find The Last Roman and all your other books at, BK?
So they're available on Amazon. They're also available through my website, which is bkgreenwood.com, exactly how it sounds. The Greenwood. If you order through the website, you can order paperbacks from me, and I actually sign all the paperbacks that get sent out, so those will be available for you. You also have links in there to bring you to Amazon where you can order the books through Amazon there. The Audible book will be coming out on January 4th. It's available now for pre-order for book 1, and then book 2 will be out in February on Audible as well. So yeah, they're all available through the website.
We're certainly looking forward to it, BK, and I'm very excited about it. We're here with author BK Greenwood of the Last Roman series here on the Mike Wagner Show. Just a few more minutes. You've been totally amazing. And what else can we expect from you in 2022 and beyond?
Yeah, so 2022, obviously, like we mentioned, I'm finishing up book 3 I'll be doing a lot of blog tours and stuff like that to launch that, and doing some book signings for book 3. And then I think I'm going to try to start a new series. I have a couple that I've been thinking about that I haven't really kind of fleshed out too much, because I'm trying to finalize this series. But I think I'll jump a little bit into a different genre, maybe do a little bit more in the crime thriller type of space. But that will be later on in next year. I'll also continue. I like to try to publish a short story every 2 to 3 months, and I share those with my anybody that's on my email list. I send those out to, so those will be available for free. So if individuals go to the website and sign up for the email, they'll get about every couple of months they'll get a new short story, just to kind of keep the fires burning there when it comes to my audience. And so 2022 will be interesting. I don't really know exactly what's going to be after book 3, because I got so much focus on that. I don't want to take any of my energy away from that. So I set myself the goal to launch that in spring. So, but I have plenty left creatively to fill in another series or continue this one after that. So that's the plan.
It's really interesting, and we're certainly looking forward to this. This is so amazing, exciting. And who do you consider biggest influence in your career?
So I think, as I was growing up, I had several individuals. One was named Ken Coleman, who was very influential on me, and he really kept me going when it came to reading. He always challenged me to read more above my grade level and above where I was at from an age perspective. And I think that really helped fill in a lot of the fire that I had for being a reader and a writer. So I would think that would be from a direct influence. That would be him. Ken would be the one. So. And
what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
I would say, just keep writing and making sure you're sharing your writing with other people, because that's the best way to get any feedback on where you need to make improvements, and just be open with feedback that you get. Just because someone says they either thought something wasn't up to snuff or wasn't perfect doesn't mean you can't go out there and do better. So keep writing. That would be my advice.
And that's very good advice as well, too. I'll certainly do so after this. Once again, author BK Greenwood of the Last Roman series here on the Mike Wagner Show. BK, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Looking forward to having you again soon. Make sure you keep us up to date, keep in touch, and look forward to having you on next year. Once again, tell us about your upcoming projects, what's your website, how do people contact you, where can people purchase or check out your books?
Yep, like I said, very easy. Go to www.bkgreenwood.com, and you can find all the information in there about my books, the reviews that I have, the feedback, other blog interviews I've done, and reviews from some fellow authors as well as an opportunity to shop and get some books, and it has some t-shirts and stuff and hats out now. So got some beanies out, because I need a beanie when I go outside, because my head gets really cold. So I had some custom made beanies with the Last Roman logo on it. So those are available.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I think we can all use some right now. Once again, BK, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely amazing. Learned a lot from you. Looking forward to having you again soon. Make sure you keep in touch, and looking forward to having you on again. We wish you all the best. You've got a great future ahead.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey everybody, my name is Forbes Riley, and I'm an American actress and a TV host. And I was delighted when I got my copy of Missing, which is Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People based on a real life relationship. It's well written. It's amazing. It talks about a man who has lost his wife and his daughter, and it's very well done. I'm going to highly recommend that you go get your copy of Missing. It is a powerful, exciting read. Mr. Mian Moshe Zia. He is the author of Missing. And I want to give a big shout out and a kiss all the way halfway around the world to my dear friend. Check him out at Mia's website. It's called www.miamoshenzea.com. Missing. Available on Amazon. Again, I'm Forbes Riley, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to The Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartradio, iTunes, YouTube, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and themikewagnershow.com. Please support our program with your donations at themikewagnershow.com. Join us again next time for another great episode of The Mike Wagner Show.